Okay, so Be'ezras Hashem, we are continuing with our weekly series of Shirim on the Ramchal's Adir BaMarom on the Ijer Rabbah, and we're moving further into the process of Rabbi Shimon preparing the Chavraya for the disclosure of secrets. And because we're entering into the path in which the individual themselves is going to be the locus of spiritual revelation, that the individual themselves becomes the Eitz Chaim. So Rabbi Shimon is preparing the Chavraya for what it takes to be a proper receptacle, what it takes to be a proper kli in order to reveal the lights of Torah, in order to receive the lights of Torah. And here Rabbi Shimon is setting us up that we're going to have to look at ourselves. When a person looks at themselves, we have to see ourselves reflected in the Shem Havaya. The Shem Havaya is the Iker revelation of all things. And in it, we can find all of the modalities of expression and reception and all of the different relationships between different parts that compose the whole of the individual. The Shem Havaya, as we're going to see, and as we've already seen, when isolated in its four letters, represents Chachma, Bina, Zer Anpin, and Malchus. It begins with Chachma of the Yud, then it goes to the Hey of Bina, then it goes to the Vav of Zer Anpin, and then it goes to the Hey of Malchus. So before we enter into the true Giloy of the Eitz Chaim, which is drawing down the light of Chachma down into Malchus, first we have to prepare ourselves on the external level. And on the external level, there is a similarity between Chachma and Zer Anpin, and Bina and Malchus. Because when looked at externally, the Yud and the Vav, which are the masculine letters of expressivity, that is associated with the masculine impulse of Chachma and Zer Anpin, which externally look similar. And so too, we're going to find an external similarity between the two elements of the Nekeva, the Hey Ilah, which is going to be Bina, which is the Ima, which is the mother in its refinement, and the Hey Tata is going to be the daughter, it's going to be Malchus in her externalization. Because on an external level, when we look at the Shem Havaya, the Yud and the Vav are oriented towards one another, Chachma and Zer Anpin, and the Hey of Bina and Malchus are oriented towards each other. But we saw already in the beginning of the Idra that really this relationship between Ima and Malchus, between the mother and the daughter, is only in case of emergency break glass type of relationship, because that erech, where Chachma and Zer Anpin and Bina and Malchus, the Yud and the Vav and the Hey are oriented towards one another, that is only on the external expression of the Shem Havaya. And on the external level of things, the first relationship that we have to cultivate is bringing Malchus back up to Bina. Malchus in her isolation, Malchus in her concealment, Malchus in the deadness of it all, first and foremost needs to be elevated back up to Bina. And in that place where Malchus is elevated back up to Bina, all of the gvuros, all of the dinim, all of the severity, all of the constriction that is applied to the territory of Malchus as a result of representing that feminine quality of isolation and concealment is going to be nimtak, is going to be sweetened in its source by elevating all of those feminine qualities back up to the refined source of those qualities, which is Bina. At that point, when Malchus has been refined with Bina, that enables us to now prepare the real process of drawing down Chachma all the way down into Malchus itself, which is the inner erech. Because internally speaking, the relationship of the Shem Havaya is different than the way it looks externally. Externally, the Yud and the Hey, Chachma and Zer Anpin, and the Hey, the Yud and the Vav, Chachma and Zer Anpin, and the Hey, Bina and Malchus are connected to one another, the father and the son, and the mother and the daughter. But from the perspective of Panemius, which is what happens after Chitzonius, it's what takes shape afterwards. So then we're going to have a different relationship. In truth, it's going to be the mother and the son that have a deeper relationship, the first Hey and the Vav, because Bina is Mashpia down to Zer Anpin, and the father and the daughter, Chachma and Malchus, are going to have a deep bond in the secret of Abba Yisoid Brata v'Koinin Shemayim B'Tfuna. The external erech is where first we have to prepare ourselves to become vessels that can receive the Torah and that can draw down the Torah. And there's a prerequisite of doing that in the right way. Once Malchus has been refined by Bina, then we can go into the inner erech, we can go into the inner perspective and realize, okay, now that I have my Malchus set up and now that I have my Bina set up, so now I can go and draw down the Chachma itself. The Tachlis is to draw down the Chachma, but the preparatory stage is by refining Malchus through Bina itself. And that is what Rabbi Shimon is bringing us into contact with here. And one of the ways, one of the frames in which a person can refine their Malchus through Bina, where I can elevate the brokenness of experience back up to the source where that brokenness is revealed to be part and parcel of Hashem's revelation, the way that that's going to take place is going to be through tears, through bechia. There's always tears when it comes to Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai revealing the secrets of Torah. There's always tears when it comes to Rabbi Akiva, who zalgu einav dma'os al ahavaso b'taraso, that Rabbi Akiva's eyes would flow forth with tears, as the Sfarim say, as a result of the deep bonds and cords of love that he felt when studying the innermost secrets of Torah, when studying the secret of Shir Hashirim, when studying the secret of connectivity. These are not tears of sadness. These are not tears of ambiguity. These are not tears of mourning, but rather they are tears of disclosure. They're tears that represent the fact that the self is so overwhelmed by its own containment within its vessels that it needs to break forth. A person breaks forth in bechia. A bechia represents the overwhelmingness of the inside flowing forth onto the outside, much like laughter, which is the expression of the excess energy that is emergent within the self. So too tears are a way of the self emerging out of itself and breaking beyond the barriers of the self, revealing more compassion, more space for the other, more space to hold more. And these tears, even though they appear to sometimes be rooted in a sadness or a fear or an external concern, nevertheless, what they're truly rooted in is the secret of sweetening all of the dinim, and that the tears that precede Hisgalus of Torah, that the tears that precede the revelation of the secrets of Torah are in fact part and parcel of the revelation of Torah itself. It's not just a prerequisite prior to the revelation. The tears themselves are part and parcel of the revelation, to the degree that without the tears, there would not be that revelation. And those tears, they don't have to actually be real tears. Halavai, they should be real tears. But we already know from Rav Avram Yitzchak Kohen Kook that he writes that Shema Hashem Kol B'chi, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we say by Tachanun, that you should hear the voice of my tears. So Zak the Heilige, why is it that we're asking HaKadosh Baruch Hu to hear the voice of our tears? He should just hear our tears themselves. There's no need to awaken a voice of tears. Let the tears be evidence themselves. So Zok the Heiliger of Cook, that in truth, as a result of exile, as a result of Malchus going down, down, down into the territory of death, where in that territory of death, the self becomes so thickened in its externalization, it covers itself over so much by so many protective layers because there's too much to be felt, and therefore, instead of feeling all things, I'll feel absolutely nothing. The self covers itself over by way of the garments of exile and the garments of unfeeling and the garments of a callousness. And it prevents us from actually crying. It prevents a person from having the capacity to break through the borders and the boundaries of self with tears. So what happens when a person can't cry? Zok the Heiliger of Cook, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu hears the voice of our tears as well, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu hears our yearning desire towards crying. And even if a person can't cry, it's the tears internally about the fact that I can't cry externally, which awaken this valence of tears. And therefore, any of the tikkunim that are going to take place by way of tears themselves, halavai, we should get to a place of a nemichus halev, of a openness of the heart, of a softness of the heart, where we can actually cry tears that are real. But prior to that point, we have to value the desire towards tears as well. And that's going to be nechlal within the tikkunim as well. Zot the Heilige Idraba. Yasiv Rabbi Shimon v'bacha. V'amar vai galina, vai lo galina. Rabbi Shimon sat down after gathering the Chavraya together for them to understand what was happening. Hazino hashamayim v'haaretz, that the Shamayim and the Aretz should listen. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai was becoming Moshe Rabbeinu, owning the light of Moshe Rabbeinu within himself. And before revealing words of Torah, Yosef Rabbi Shimon Ubacha, Rabbi Shimon sat and he cried. He wept. V'amar, and he said, Vai galina, vai lo galina. Woe to me if I reveal, and woe to me if I do not reveal. Caught in the crossroads of the desire towards revelation and the awareness of concealment. And it's this ambiguity that becomes the very point at which Pnimius HaTorah is going to be revealed most potently. Zot the Heilige Ramchal. V'amar. So the Zohar Kadosh says that Rabbi Shimon sat and he cried and he entered into this paradox of wanting to reveal and not wanting to reveal at the same time. So what are these tears? Says the Ramchal. These tears were in order to awaken Rachamim, were in order to awaken the Rachamim of Bina, so as to undo the closedness or the blockages or the knots that emerge in a person's life as a result of exile. The tears were to break through those knots that develop within the person's experience that prevent them from feeling anything. So the tears are trying to break free from the concealment of exile. So this secret is already revealed by Rabbi Shimon in Parshas Bereshis in the Zohar HaKadosh on the pasuk in Tehillim that these are the ones that I will remember and I will sob forth and I will cry forth by way of my soul for them. Sha'amar, the Zohar HaKadosh there says, Adkarna befumai v'shvichna demaya b'ra'us nafshi begin amshacha asvin ilin. That what Rashbi says over there is that I'm going to open up my mouth and my tears are going to flow forth in order to prepare my soul to draw down these words of Torah. So we see that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai is not just crying over the fact that he doesn't know whether he should reveal Torah or not, but rather the crying itself is the very thing that draws down the Torah itself. Like we said, it's a prerequisite to the Torah. It's an openness of the Torah. And all of this, like we said earlier, is so that Ema, the mother, should be able to provide a garment to the daughter. So the crying that Rabbi Shimon was awakening, as the Ramchal is going to show us, was the first act of preparation towards the revelation of secrets, which was bringing Malchus back up to Bina, fixing that erech hachitzoni between the Hei Ilah and the Hei Tata, between Bina and Malchus, and bringing Malchus, which is the heart in its closeness, which is the heart in its unfelt nature, which is the heart when it's covered over by the callous layers of protective defense mechanisms that the self is forced to cultivate in order to survive the overwhelming nature of this world. When we bring that place back up to Bina, in that place there's a vulnerability, there's a rachamim that sweetens the severity of the heart of Malchus, and it opens it up and it allows it to be a receptacle ready to reveal the lights of Torah, to receive the lights of Torah. This secret of the tears that are there to draw down the disclosure of Torah, it's in the secret of Laman Toizif Ima Mana Lebrata, that the mother should be able to provide a garment to the daughter. V'soid ha'inyan, and what's the secret, says the Ramchal? Ki ha'malchus hu halev v'hu din v'hu kasha. When we look at Malchus, we're talking about the heart. And yes, the heart is Bina, but that's the heart of the mind, the heart of the body, the heart as the center of the self that controls the regulation of the body in its warmth and its coldness and its intensity and its quietude. That's the secret of the heart. The heart is the human experience in this world. The heart keeps score. The heart is the place that monitors concealment and it awaits the moments of revelation. And in that place, it's din. And in that place, it's hard and it's difficult and it's closed. When the Malchus is descending down, it's the heart that is closed off, it's covered over. Ad shemitgala ima ilo v'ta'ase nukva ki'ima v'azi din memutak v'rach b'soid lev basar. And only once Malchus, which is the closeness of the heart, the impossibility of being vulnerable because of the terror of what is going to be felt if I open my heart for a second towards vulnerability, when Bina is mashpia down to Malchus, when the Hei Ilah goes down to the Hei Tata, Malchus transforms from her closeness and the severity and the covered over nature of herself, and it's opened up and it's sweetened all of the Gevuros, and the heart is transformed from a Lev Ha'even into a Lev Basar, into a heart of flesh. The tachlis of what it means to be a mensch in this Welt is to have a vulnerable heart, to have a feeling heart, Lev Basar. V'sod zeh halev maven. And this is the secret of the heart beginning to understand, that the heart begins to understand only through the koyach of Bina, because prior to Bina expressing itself on the heart, which is Malchus, the heart is closed as a result of the severity. It's only as a result of Bina itself, which is the heart, the higher heart, that has the ability to rectify the lower heart and enable the lower heart to feel that it can feel things. The secret of halev maven, the secret of the heart understanding, ki gam kein Bina nikras lev elyon. We know that Bina is also referred to as the supernal heart. It's the heart of the mind. It's the place of severity, but the severity there is nimtak. The severity there is sweetened. Ukeshemitgalit al halev hatachton as halev maven. When the lev ha'elyon of Bina is mitgala on the lev hatachton, which is Malchus, when the Hei Ilah is miskala itself on the Hei Tata, when the confidence of feeling is expressed into that closeness and the terror of feeling, so the heart opens up and the heart has the ability to feel, and the heart is able to keep score. The az hevel shel sag mit oirer v'hurach me'ima v'nasa b'chia. And now we can understand, says the Ramchal, the secret of the Arizal, who tells us that b'chia is the Gematria 37. Why is Bechia crying the Gematria of 37? Because we know that when we look at the Shem Havaya associated with Bina, it's the Shem Havaya Besag. It's the Shem Havaya spelled out. The Yud is spelled out, Yud Vav Dalid. And then we have the Hey, which is going to be Hey Yud, and then the Vav Aleph Vav, which is unique about the Shem Havaya of Bina, in that it's no longer just Vav Yud Vav like the Shem Havaya of Ab of Chachma, but rather it's Vav Aleph Vav because it's the womb of the preparation towards revelation afterwards. And then we have the Hey Yud as the last letter. So when you take the Shem Havaya of Sag and you take away the original letters of the Shem Havaya, which is the Gematria of 26, what you're left with is the Gematria of Hevel, of the air, the Hevel Halev, the heart and the air of the heart that is going to reveal itself. That Hevel is the Gematria of 37, is the Miloi of the Shem Sag, which is the light of Bina. So when that's awoken, it draws down the Rachamim of Bina. And that's why Bechia is going to be the Gematria of Hevel, because Hevel is the innermost part of Bina, which sends down the Rachamim Rabbim to sweeten the severity of the heart, which enables the heart to cry, which enables the stone to open up and enables the person to feel vulnerable. And that's why the Hevel, the Miloi of Shem Sag, which comes from Bina, is going to be the source of all the Bechia, because those tears are what's going to be Mamtikit. V'hu Bechia shel Simcha v'shel Dveikus. And this type of Bechia is not a Bechia Machmas Tsar. It's not the pain of not being able to feel anything. It's the pain of wanting more. It's the Bechia shel Simcha. It's the tears of Simcha that overflow, that desire more than what the heart can handle, more than what the heart can even put into language. It's a language, it's tears of Dveikus, the tears of Rabbi Akiva, the tears of connectivity, of knowing that there's more, but I don't know how and I don't know what. Hanimshach meiroch halev shenas alev basar. These tears of revelation, these tears of compassion, these tears of empathy, these tears of healthy feeling and openness towards experience, this is what happens when the heart is softened and it transforms into a heart of flesh, and that's only done through Bina being mashpia down to Malchus. Ba'az niftachim shari rachamim, and then the gates of mercy and the gates of compassion are open. And this is the secret, sha'arei dema'ad loinin alu, that the gates of tears are never closed, because it's tears that open up the gates of rachamim. Because when I cry, that's the secret of awakening the fact that the gate can never be closed, because even when the gate is closed and there's no rachamim and I have no room for anybody else and I have no room for even myself, in that place the sha'arei rachamim can be niftach al yedei, the hisayrus of Bina that's coming down to awaken the deadened heart. And that's the secret of the gates of tears that are always open. Ki az hadinim shebe'einayim yoitzim b'soid dema'os liam hagadol. Because then what's happening in tears, as the Sfarim HaKadoshim say, is that by crying we're awakening the gvuros of Bina itself, which is the shorish of dinim in their source, where they're still refined. And by cathartically expressing themselves from the inside out and allowing the pent-up energy to express itself and to allow itself to find shape in reality, there's a hamtakas adinim, and those tears have the ability of being mamtik everything. As we're going to explain later on, says the Ramchal, b'siyata d'shmaya be'er heitev. ועוד אפרש לך זה במקומו בסייעתא דשמיא באר היטב. ונמצא שבכוח הבכייה נוקבה נעשה לב רך בבחינס אימא כנזכה לאל. So we see that the tears of disclosure are the first preparatory stage in transforming the stone nature of the heart and the closeness of the heart and the inability of the heart to feel anything. And first we have to be mamtik that with the comfort and the confidence of being able to be emotional human beings, which is the secret of Bina. Only with healthy emotionality, which is Bina, which is the Hey Ilah, can we be mamtik, the Hey Tata, which is the Lev Ha'evan, which is the terror of feeling anything. And so when the Bechia is Mat'ayr, when there's the Hevel Halev, the innermost part of the breath of Bina, which allows me to be confident in my vulnerability, that expresses itself down to the Hey of Malchus, and that Lev Ha'evan is Nisapech into a Lev Basar in the secret of the preparation for the revelation of Torah. Zakt the Heilige Ramchal. V'im yesh biyadcha davar emes me'inyanei klalos hahanhaga tavin kol eila hadvarim. And like we started off, in order to really understand what the Ramchal is saying here, we have to understand what the klalos hahanhaga is. Meaning to say, what's the klalos hahanhaga? The klalos hahanhaga is the way that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to reveal Himself in this world. What is the vehicle through which HaKadosh Baruch Hu reveals Himself? Kavyachol, that's going to be the Shem Havaya. It's always the Shem Havaya, and therefore the Shem Havaya, when understood in the lens of Hanhaga, is going to represent four different modalities, four different ways, four different modes of governance through which HaKadosh Baruch Hu reveals Himself. And that's going to be Chachma, Bina, Zer, Anpin, and Nukva. Yud Hey Vav Hey. And so, in order to understand the secret of Bechia and why Bina specifically has the ability of awakening Malchus, and why it's the higher Hey that has the ability to awaken the lower Hey from its concealment. So once we understand the Klaus Anhaga, then we'll understand exactly what we're saying here. Zakter Ramchal. Ki ima v'nukva shteyen him b'chinas achas sayd hadin elashazu memuteket yoter mizu. Because in truth, the Hey Ila, which is Bina, and the Hey Tata, which is Malchus, both of them represent severity, both of them represent din, both of them represent Nekeva. The only difference is that the Gvuros by Bina are far more sweetened than the Gvuros in Malchus, which is the secret of being mamtik the dinim in their shoresh. By Bina, it's very clear what the role of the Gevuros are. It's clear that the Gevuros only serve the purpose of intensifying the process of grasping the unity of Chachma. In that place, the dinim are not frightening, the dinim are not scary, the dinim are memutak b'sharashayim because they're revealed to be an expression of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Mi yimalel Gevuros Hashem yashmiya kol tehilaso. In that place, Adir, when a person can receive the Gevuros of Bina and the intensity of Bina, they're being mamtik a higher level. But on Malchus, the dinim are going to be more severe. V'hu kol inyan hasag v'haben shel hamalchin kadmin v'him beis hahayim shel Hashem Baruch Hu v'ein kan makom birzeh. And here the Ramchal is hinting to an even deeper level. So if we see an equivalency between the Hey Ilah, which is Bina, and Hey Tata, which is Malchus, we know that each and every one of these four osios of the Shem Havaya, which represent Chachma, Bina, Zer Anpin, and Nukva, the Shleimus of the Hanhaga. So each and every one of those letters of the Shem Havaya also have their own tziruf and their own Gematria of the Shem Havaya. We know that the Yud of Chachma corresponds to the Shem Havaya that's spelled out with Yuds, which is the Gematria of 72. Like we just said, we know that the Shem Havaya associated with Bina is the Shem Havaya of Sag of 63, which is going to be Yudin and an Aleph in the middle of the Vav. We know that Zer Anpin, the Vav, is going to correspond to the Shem Havaya Miloi Alfin, which is Gematria Ma, which is Gematria 45. And we know that the Hey Tata Malchus is going to be Mara Samach Pela, which is just a doubled Shem Havaya with no Miloi other than itself, which is going to be the Gematria of Ban. So we have Absag Ma Ban. And so we know that when it comes to the Shvira, when it comes to the shattering of the vessels, when it comes to all of the Gvura that emerges into the world and all of the trauma, all of that is coming from the Shem Havaya of Ben. It's all coming from Malchus. It's all coming from that lowest point that descends down into this worldliness. And the entire process of Tikkun and the entire Seder of the Eitz Chaim and the entire purpose of us coming down into this world is to take the brokenness of the Shem Havaya de Ben, which is the lower Hay, which is Malchus in its externality, which is the Lev HaEvan, and elevate it and schlep it back up to the Havaya de Sag, which is the Shoresh of the Dinim in Bina. And when we elevate Ben back up to Sag, we have the secret of Eishes Chayla Teres Baila. We come to reveal the true potency and the true power and the true light of the Gvuros themselves. Now, obviously, when the Shem Ben is Ola to Sag and Malchus goes back up to Bina, so then it appears that Malchus is now ascending over and above the Shem Havaya Dama, which is the secret of Zar Anpin. And this is where we find the secret of that in the time of redemption, in the time of revelation, there's going to be Nekeva to Soiviv Geber, that the feminine quality of Gevuros is going to be revealed to be higher than the masculine quality of revelation. And all of the concealment that we felt is going to be shown to have been the true place where HaKadosh Baruch Hu's light could be revealed. But obviously, that's not the permanent erech. That's only the momentary erech where Malchus goes back up to Bina and Zer Anpin has not yet revealed its inner interiority in Chachma. But we know that just as the Shem Ben of Malchus can go back up to Sag of Bina, so too the Shem Ma of Zer Anpin can go back to the Shem Ab of Chachma to reveal that in truth, the masculine principle of expressivity and bittul and tainug is always, always, always going to outstretch the power of the Bina and the Malchus, and that no matter how beautiful the Gevuros are, no matter how intense the Gevuros are, and no matter how wondrous the sugya of being Mamtik Dinim B'Sharashim, of taking Malchus back up to Bina is, nevertheless, it's never only for the sake of remaining in that place, which is more oriented towards the Ani and towards the self, which is felt most intensely by way of the Gevuros, but the purpose is always, always, always to go all the way back up to Chachma and to be mevatel ourselves in Chachma, and the secret of Pnimius of the Shema is the Shem Ab. But right now, in the erech that we're discussing, says the Ramchal, this reality of sweetening the dinim of Malchus with the shorish of the dinim in Bina, of opening up the stone heart by way of the rachamim of the heart above, which is the secret of Bina, that represents the relationship between the Shem Ben, which is deficiency, and the Shem Sag, which is bringing deficiency back up to its higher place, which is the secret of Geula, which is the secret of redemption and Tikkun HaKelim. It's the secret of Tikkun and all of the rectifications that we're looking for. So this is what the Ramchal is saying. And if you have a grasp of the general framework in which HaKadosh Baruch Hu runs the Welt, you'll come and understand a little bit of what we're talking about. Because Malchus and Bina operate within the same secret, and the secret of judgment, and the secret of Gvur, and the secret of Tzimtzum. The only difference is that Bina is more sweetened than the dinim of Malchus. And this is the secret of the Shem Ben of Malchus, which goes back up to the Shem Sag of Bina, which is the rectification of the death of the Edomite kings, and the secret of the Shiras HaKelim. And these are the two hays of the Shem Havaya. The Ein Kan Makom Birzeh. But this is not going to be the place that we spend too much time discussing this. And the reason we're not talking about the relationship between Malchus and Bina, between Ben going up to Sag, and the secret of Eishes Chayla Taras Baila, and the secret of breaking open the stone heart by revealing the vulnerable heart, the reason we're not speaking about this so long here, so deep here, is because because in truth, this relationship, the relationship between these two shemos, the relationship between Malchus and Bina, is fundamentally what we need to draw forth from the writings of the Arizal themselves, which is always just talking about this sugya. And someone who hasn't come to the place of learning the secret of Hamtakas Adinim B'Sharashim through the study of Kabbalah, so then they they have still not come to understand the depth of Chachma, because the ikr is to come to understand how to be mamtik all of the dinim, and how to elevate all of the concealment back up to a place of revelation, and then to go back from that source of revelation and Bina back up to an even higher place in Chachma. Kirak zehu davar aburia. This is the only true expression of the Chachma. We have to understand the relationship between the Partzufim as it is expressed in the four letters of the Shem Havaya, and we have to understand how sometimes the relationship is going to be between the Hey and the Hey, between Bina and Malchus, and then it's going to be between Chachma and Zer Anpin, the Yud and the Vav, and sometimes it's going to be between Bina and Zer Anpin, which is going to be the Hey and the Vav, and then it's going to be between Chachma and Malchus, which is the Yud and the Hey, and there's going to be many, many different Erchen, and this is ultimately the way that a person is going to be able to grasp the depth of what Pnimius HaTorah is coming to tell us. Lahavin inyan dalad oisiyes Hashem b'hei lefi inyan hahahaga sheratza b'y hama'atzil yisparach shemo. To understand the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to understand Yud, Kei, Vav, Kei, to understand the secret of how HaKadosh Baruch Hu expresses his providence and the way that he runs the Welt, Yichud b'shlita, Yichud b'metzias, all of them are always through the Shem Havaya. Va'az yeda perish kol masha anu medabrim b'tzed ha'partzufim b'pratios orasayim. And then and only then will a person come to understand all of the inner workings of the Partzufim, which correspond to the Shem Havaya, and all of the various details that go into each and every one of their lights. Ki hakol tzarech levo el hakavana hazos, because the ultimate purpose is to come to this place of how the individual themselves can become the merkava for these ideas. The kol kishrei hapartzufim v'chol harchavoseim, and all of the interrelationships and all of the differentiated relationships between the Partzufim, and how HaKadosh Baruch Hu shifts the way sometimes in which he's miskala himself in the world, and the levush that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wore yesterday, Kavyachol, is not going to be the same levush that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wears today. And a person has to always be holding on the Shem Havaya. A person has to always be holding on, where are we speaking? Are we speaking in Malchus in relationship to Bina, the Hey in relationship to the Hey, or are we speaking in Malchus in relationship to Chachma, or is there Anpin in relationship to Chachma, or is there Anpin in relationship to Bina, or is there Anpin in relationship to Malchus? All of the different Erchim. But Ramchal, returning back to the element of tears, which we said is sweetening the dinim of the Gevuros and the closed-heartedness of Malchus, the stoned heart of Malchus, and opening it up to the softness and the leiv basar of Bina. And let's return to the matter. These types of tears, not only are they about drawing down the secrets of revelation, but they're also being goyrim, profound tikkunim above, that every time that there's tears of a yid that express themselves outwards, by by way of intensity, by way of dveikus, by way of the tsar of hisrachkus from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and the undying lovesickness that a person feels when they want to chase after HaKadosh Baruch Hu, narutza, to run with all of our intensity, to cry. These tears express major tikkunim, major rectifications. Besoid roich halevav v'mituk hadin, nothing other than the secret of the softness of the heart and the sweetening of the judgments. Ubehistakel harashbi besitume hagalus v'hiskabrus haklipos. And when Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai looked out upon all of the concealment and all of the blockages and stoppages that were expressed during exile and the strengthening of the klipa and all of the concealment to the degree that Eis lasos lashem hifrus orasecha ad shahaya goyrim loisafik im loimer im loimer haya boicha. Rabbi Shimon came to a place of realizing, I don't know what to do. I don't know if I should reveal these words that are going to fix the world, and I don't know if I shouldn't reveal these words because of the lowly nature of the world. And there's the ambiguity of what to do when it comes to drawing down the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's crown to fix the world. But the world is such a disgusting place sometimes that it's not worthy of receiving the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's crown. And therefore, this is the ambiguity. This is the Vai Galina, Vai Lo Galina. Can I reveal? Can I not reveal? And be'emes, these two modalities of revelation and not revealing never stop being present within every act of revelation. That every word of revelation is ultimately a concealment of two levels, so that it's not whether I'm revealing or I'm not revealing, but whether, how can I learn the secret of revealing and not revealing at the same time, and the secret of Megala Tefach u'Mechasa Tfachayim. But Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai is entering into this place of not knowing whether he should reveal or not. Vai galina, vai lo galina, and he was crying as a result of this. And it was these tears. Rabbi Shimon wasn't crying because it was a shver matzav. Rabbi Shimon was crying because the only way to get over the shver matzav is crying. And in truth, it's the result and the strength of these tears themselves that drew down the permission granted from above for Rabbi Shimon to reveal this teaching. What was Rabbi Shimon afraid of? What was Rabbi Shimon so scared of? Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai was beginning to reveal new hakdamos, as we saw. Chidushay Torah, a real chidushay Torah, new hakdamos that can give a person the ability to move forward in this world and not to get stuck down and sunken down into the darkness. And the secrets of Panimius HaTorah are those weapons that we need to fight through the darkness, to fight through the thicket. And so Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai understood that in order to reveal a new level of revelation, so there had to be revelation, but the revelation couldn't be a momentary revelation, it had to be a lasting revelation. And anytime there's a lasting revelation, so then a person has to question for themselves what is going to come of this lasting revelation. And the Ari and Rashbi was aware of what would happen in the future. He already knew that in the future there were going to be Rishaim and wicked individuals who would come, and they would mix up all of the pathways, and they would utilize these secrets of Torah in a negative way. As we've seen by Avanosenu Harabim, V'zer Ra Gadol, the Ramchal was fundamentally aware of what was going on in his generation. The Ramchal was fundamentally aware of what was going on when Panimius HaTorah was misused, from Katshats and all of the different iterations of Panimius HaTorah being weaponized in the wrong way. Rabbi Shimon understood. He says, I'm not just revealing without any consequences. Revelation has consequences to it, because once it's revealed, and then it can be grasped. Now, that was in the time of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. In our generation, we don't have such a concern, because everything can be revealed, and we still don't know what to do with anything. And therefore, the job is to reveal in the hopes that one drop, one fluid ounce of that revelation is going to have the ability to break through the stone hearts of Nishmas Yisrael, to awaken the softness of the Heilige Kedusha of the neshama of Klal Yisrael. And with those tears of opening up the heart, the neshama can then gain its wings and fly upwards to the shoresh that it comes from, which is the highest point imaginable, the chelak Eloi Kaimimal Mamish. And so there's a need of breaking through the thickness of the heart with riboy diburei Torah, with riboy sodos HaTorah, with riboy haskalus panimius HaTorah. Because in the end of the day, all we're trying to do is jumpstart our hearts. But back then, in the time of Rashbi, there was a real consideration to be made, because these ideas are going to come down, and it's going to create a big chilul Hashem. It's going to create perspectives that are going to be the direct opposite from what the Torah HaKadosh is coming to tell us. There's going to be oppositional pathways that are going to teach us that a person doesn't have to do anything because Hashem is everywhere, and a person can do anything because Hashem is anywhere, or that a person has to worry too much because they're responsible. All of the different wrong ways in which the Torah can be revealed, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai had the singular path, knowledge of how to be Megala it through the Tzimtzum and the Hiskalus at the same point. But as he began to reveal himself, so obviously it came with a deep sense of trepidation because he already knew that in the future there were going to be wicked ones who would come and take these teachings and destroy the world with it, as we see in our Avanosenu Harabim, as has taken shape throughout history. Ki be'emes gilui hasoidos l'she'enam mehuganim hu kilkul gadol. Because in truth, says Rabbeinu Haramchal, that the revelation of the secrets to those who are unworthy is a profound detriment. It creates great damage. That the river flows forth and it causes destruction and it dries itself out. So Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai was fundamentally aware that I can't just be Megala something. It's Sinai, Sinai. I have to make sure that I'm drawing down the words of Moshe Rabbeinu into Har Sinai, like we saw. So therefore, Rabbi Shimon says, Vai igalina, vai lo igalina. Woe to me if I reveal, woe to me if I don't reveal. From within that ambiguous position that awakens the tears of closeness and distance at the very same point, that's going to be the awakening of the Rishus for Rabbi Shimon to be Megala. And furthermore, just so that we don't have to be too worried about this problem of revealing Pnimiyas HaTorah, Aval ha'emes hu gamkein, in truth, Rabbi Shimon also understood very well she'ein hara ela lemi shemegala l'rishayim atzmam. The only real negative thing is someone who takes the words of Torah and gives it directly to the Rishayim themselves and teaches it directly to the Rishayim. Aval mi shemegala rak letzadikim. But someone who teaches the words of Torah only to the tzadikim, someone who teaches the word of Torah with the awareness that amech kulam tzadikim, that every single neshama in Klal Yisrael not only needs but deserves the depth of Pnimiyas HaTorah, and that each and every neshama from Klal Yisrael has their own Shaya Lamos and the Yesha Elyon, which is Meskala Dafka Mitzad Pnimiyas HaTorah. That when someone is speaking to Nishmas Yisrael in the secret of Amech Kulam Tzadikim, in that place, there's no problem of giving over the Torah. And if the Rishayim take it from there, what happens is like a moth that circles around the light of the candle until it burns up as a result of that. And that's going to take shape when we see that the Sitra Achra, all of the concealment, all of those processes that try to steal Pnimiyas HaTorah, that they end up burning themselves out. This is a profoundly significant teaching from Rabbi Shimon in terms of tears of disclosure and ultimately tears of vulnerability, tears of compassion, tears of allowing Bina to sweeten Malchus so that I can have a leiv margish, and then I can become a person who has shaychus to Pnimiyas HaTorah. We've spoken about in the past the connection between Rabbeinu Ramchal and Rabbeinu Nachman ben Fegas, and we know that Rabbi Nachman would have Talmidim learn Mesil Sisharim from the Ramchal. And we know that the Ramchal yahrzeit is on the Sfira of Yesod, Shabi Yesod, which is the secret of the Tzadik Yesod Olam. And the light of the Ramchal, the light of the Tikkunim of the Ramchal, is fundamentally connected to the light of Rabbi Nachman, especially in this particular sugya, because the light of Rabbeinu, like we said, is leiv basar, to transform the heart into a feeling place, to take bina and to allow the bina on the understanding and tshuva to break the heart open so that the heart can become a heart of flesh and it can feel something, and then it can go into the secret of his poidedus, which is bittul ba'etzem, which is drawing down the light of chachma down into malchus. So it's no surprise that we see then that Rabbi Nachman has two teachings where he really reflects nearly word for word the same elements of what Rabbeinu Haramchal is revealing here. So we're looking in Torah Kuf Ayin Hey in Likutei Maharan Aleph. Ikar malas habechia hu kishimach masimcha v'chedva va'afilu hacharata tov ma'od sheyamach masimcha shemirov simchasa b'Hashem yisparach u'mitcharet mitga'agea ma'od al shamarad negdo b'yamim harishonim u'ma'or loy bechia mach masroiv hasimcha v'zeh ikar malas habechia shetiyamach masimcha. This is the essential, foundational, elevated status of tears when it comes as a result of joy and gladness. And even if those tears are coming as a result of shame and distance and regret over the distancing that I've done to myself from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's also good for those tears of pain to come about by way of joy, because of the great joy that I have with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I'm in pain about the distance, and I'm yearning to come closer as a result of the distancing that I created in my lifetime. And in this way, I awaken this profound level of tears, intense tears, and tears of joy. And this is the true value and elevated status of tears, that they should come about by way of joy. And this, says Rabbi Nachman, is the secret of Bechia, Beis Chaf Yud Hey, which is the Rosh Tevos B'Shimcha Yagilun Kol Hayom, that I rejoice with your name all day, Rabbeinu Shloim. I find rejoicing in your name all day. I elevate the hey tata of your name back up to the hey ilah of your name, and that's through the secret of Bechia, which is the innermost part of Bina, which is the Gematria of Hevel, which is the Miloi of the Shem Sag. She'ikr ha-Bechia, says Rabbeinu, the source of tears, she'tiyah machma simcha b'shmo yisbarach. It should come as a result of the joy that I find in connecting to HaKadosh Baruch Hu's name. Ki Bechia hu misayre mishem Sag, shehu bebina, because tears of joy are awoken from within the Shem of Sag, from that name of 63. When you take away the 26, you're left with 37, which is the Gematria of Hevel, which is the Gematria of Bechia, which is the secret of Bina. V'alkein Bechia b'Gematria hamiloi shel Sag. And therefore, tears are going to be the Gematria of Hevel, which is the Miloi of the Shem Sag, Kimavor b'Kitvei ha'arizal. Dahainu shehes oirus ha'Bechia tiyeh mesimcha, that the awakening of tears should come about from Simcha, from the place of Bina, ki Bina liba, because Bina is the heart that is now going to awaken the Lev ha'evan. Kamei shekasav halev mevin, the heart understands. And once the heart understands, that's where the Bechia from Bina comes down to sweeten the heart of Malchus. Ve'ikra simcha hu believe. And the main place that we have to reveal the simcha is in the heart. Kamei shekasav natata simcha belibi, that the simcha and the Bechia of Bina should come down to the Lev itself of Malchus to give us the awakening that we need. And it's only in that place that the Bechia is going to be nimtak. And so we see that exactly like the Ramchal is being masbir, that the Bechia has to come mitzad, the Bina, which is the Hevel of the Peh, the Hevel of the Lev, which comes down to be mamtik, the Lev ha'evan of Malchus itself. And then we have another teaching from Rabbi Nachman in Torah Reish Samach Beis in the Kutamaran Chelik Aleph, which also speaks of the Bechia and how the Bechia is going to carry out this protection that Rabbi Shimon himself was afraid of. That Rabbi Shimon was afraid that the Torah would be misused, that the Torah would be misconstrued, that the Torah would be utilized, and the Torah would become a weapon for people to awaken certain paths of Avodah that are not true, that are klipa, that are dangerous. And Rabbi Shimon, through that Bechia, he protected himself and he pushed back against all of those possibilities of concealment. And this is the language of Rabbi Nachman, translated freely in Torah Reish Samach Beis. We should know that it comes about as a result of novelties in Torah. The novelties in Torah create rivers in this world. Because when a person begins to create novelties in Torah, to reveal more Torah, so what begins to flow down is the flow of their mind. It's the flow of their mind that comes from the Beis Hashem, that comes from Tefillah, and that's the Seichel. So when the Seichel, when the mind starts churning to reveal Pnimiyas HaTorah, so it's the secret of the river beginning to flow forth. As it's written, B'chachma yivne bayis, that it's specifically from Chachma that we're going to be able to build the house. And then that house is going to flow forth with Chidushei Torah. And this stream in the beginning is very narrow and it's very small. And only afterwards does it widen itself and express itself further and further until it becomes many, many rivers of thought. And all of them come, and all of the world comes to drink from these rivers of thoughts, from these rivers, from these flowing waters of Chidushei Torah. And therefore, anybody who wants to awaken new Chidushei Torah in the world, anybody who wants to bring down a new revelation that has some hyper significance to it, they have to cry beforehand, like Rabbi Shimon. They have to cry beforehand because it's their tears that are going to create the beginning of those rivers. And everybody comes to drink from those rivers. But because everyone's coming to drink from those rivers, the Klipa and the Sitra Achra Chas v'Shalom also has the ability to come to drink from those rivers, like the Ramchal hints to us. And therefore, a person, the tzaddik, has to cry before they reveal their teachings. Because when we cry before we reveal our teachings, at that point the tears become the preliminary rivers, and it's those preliminary rivers which the klipa comes to drink from. It's the secret of mibechi naharos chibesh, that my tears become rivers, and through these tears that become rivers, now all of the concealment and all of the sitra achra and the klipa, they come and they drink from my tears. They drink from my tears and the nimtak, and then the rivers of chidushei Torah are not going to be misused and they're not going to be misutilized. And therefore, when I create rivers with chidushei Torah and I create new chidushei Torah after the crying, then we can draw it down to the place that it needs to go down to, and we don't have to be worried about the chitzonius that is going to drink from it because they drink from the tears already. And therefore, a sefer that is built upon halachos is referred to, or a masechet in Gemara is a masechta. Masechta means a separation, the separation caused by tears that enables real chidushei Torah to come down into the world. This is the aspect of v'shikuve bebechi masachti, that it's with my tears that I have created the separation, the masechta. Shetzarech limsei chamashke bebechi, that I have to first and foremost create a separation between the flow of the rivers of water of Pnimiyas Torah and Chedushay Torah with rivers of tears, because first and foremost they have to cry first. Like the pasuk says, Al Naharos Bavel, Sham Yashavnu Gam Bechinu, we sat by Bavel, we sat in the light of Talmud Bavli, the place of Chedushay Torah, and first and foremost we had to sit there and we had to cry. Why? Because it's the awakening of the crying upon the rivers that enables all of the yeshivos to take place and to protect it from all of the klipos and the sitra achra that want to misuse Pnimiyas Torah. Shehem na'asim naharos, and these chidushim create the flows of water. And this is the secret of gam bachinu. We also cried kitzarach libchois mikoidem, because a person has to cry bebechinas v'shekuve bebechi masachti. And it's these tears of bina that awaken the heart to be a feeling heart. And when the heart is feeling, and the Torah is coming down from a place that's coming to irrigate the broken heart and allow it to find light with HaKadosh Baruch Hu again, Iker Gili of Seidas Torah, as the Ramchal says over and over in Tfilas Ramchal, is to draw down these tears of Bina into the tears of Malchus, so that the heart itself can become the place that can receive Chachma itself. That Chachma cannot rest within the heart of Malchus if the heart of Malchus is as cold as a stone. And therefore the warmth of the heart of Bina has to break open the coldness of the heart of Malchus, which is terrified, open it up to vulnerability, and then the heart can become the receptacle for Chachma, for Chedushay Torah, for the light of all lights, for the Torah Keduma, for the Torah of Atikas Lima'a, for the Torah of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, which is the Torah of Leis Smaila B'Hayatika, that there's no concealment, that there's only goodness, and we don't have to be worried so much, and we can draw down more and more goodness only through the secret of Rabbi Shimon's Torah, through the secret of the Chachma Keduma, of drawing Chachma into Bina, allowing those tears to break open the heart so that we can draw down the light of infinitude into it, Be'ezras Hashem.